Okay, so everybody, welcome to the first of 4 calls. We're going to be covering single strategy the next 4 weeks. And my goal here is to give you some drills that you can do so that you can watch this. This is kind of a classroom session. But with any learning, just sitting in your chair and just listening, it's not going to translate. You actually have to go out and do these things. And strategy, just like technique, is a habit, right? So you may have the habit of going down the line, going to the open court on the wrong shot. And you may know that, but when you play, there's not enough time to process, number one. Number two, your emotional quotient, your EQ sets in and you'll hit the wrong shot and you'll realize it after the fact. So the ability to go out there and do what we call situation drills, where you set up the situation and you look for the right ball, it helps to train that habit. So when it happens in a match, yes, it's a decision you're making, but it's almost like a premeditated decision. And basically, the less you can think, the better. What I love about the strategy side is a lot of us will working on technique, but when we start to play, we want to start to think about where. Okay, in practice, you're thinking about how to execute. When you start to play matches, you want to be thinking where. That'll take your mind away from all the other thoughts, help focus your thoughts. All right, and when you have a distinct target in mind, you can hit the ball with more conviction, more confidence. You're probably going to even swing faster. All right, so that's the goal here for these sessions. And as I mentioned, to execute the tactics, you need the technique. All right, but first things first, I just want to kind of go over the court with you real quickly. I'd also have it on my slides here, but I think you can see this quite well. So just real quick, this baseline here, imagine this is you. All right, this is your opponent. So we're going to talk about the target zones real quick. All right, because we're going to refer to that inside the call. So if you look here, this big box here, right over there, that is the best target when you're playing tennis, when you're playing singles. Now, why is that? Why do you think deep down the middle is so effective? All right, so think about that for a second. Why is that so effective? You can actually write that in the chat box. Okay, I'm going to get in the chat box here. So forgot everybody's at the computers because we're not shadow swinging right now. More room for error. Yes. Cuts off the angles. Yes, Everett. Hard to react. Yes, got to get out of the way. Cutting off angles. Don't give away angles. Safer target. Yes. You guys all got it. Yes. Low over the net. Yes, Sean, you got it. Okay, excellent. Excellent. All right. So, Vic Braden once asked Billie Jean King, what happens if you could hit every ball deep up the middle? She thought about it for a second. She said, you just beat everybody in the world. Simple tennis, right? Okay. Now, off to the sides, we call these boxes zone 3, all right? Zone 3. So that's where it's about an 8 by 8 foot, actually 9 by 9. There we go. 27 feet across, singles court, right? So 3 9s are 27. So about 9 by 9 foot boxes, approximately, because between here and here is 18 feet. All right, so 9 by 9. So when you're behind the baseline, you're going to go to zone 3 here. All right, big targets. So when you rally cross court, you can go between zone 3 and zone 4. You keep them centered, you keep them back. All right, same is true here. If you're rallying cross court, you're going to go between zone 4 and zone 3. Keep them centered, keep them back, eliminate the angle as you're set. Now, this is where we're going to get into the different standing zones. Today, we're going to cover the red zone right here. The red zone is approximately, just to keep all things equal, I call it 8 feet, but maybe we say 9 feet midway, inside the baseline all the way to the back fence. All right, so we're going to cover this portion today. Inside the red zone, we have the defensive zone, which is behind the baseline, the neutral area, which is around the baseline, that's rallying, and then the offensive area, which is inside the baseline. All right. Okay. So when you are defensive or neutral red, you're going zone 3 and zone 4, deep through the court. Okay. Now, if you step inside the court, the ball lands short and you're playing inside the baseline, the offensive area of the red zone, that's when you can now open the court. So if you're over here, you can actually go to zone 2. You can use the angle, because you're in an offensive position. You hit the angle, even though you give your opponent an angle, they can be defending more, right? Versus if you back here, hit an angle, difficult shot, they may be stepping into the court with an angle. So then offense, okay? So when you're inside the court, you can now hit to zone 2. Those are your sharp angles. Open the court, spread them. The court geometry is on your side. The other things you can do from the offensive area, you can change direction, right? When you're behind the baseline, generally speaking, when the ball is deep, you go back to where it came from, generally speaking. When the ball is short and you can stand inside the court, so the ball lands somewhere in here, you can now change direction of the ball, all right? Very important. Now, big zone 5 over here. This is where you are looking to get balls hit to you so you can go on the offense, but you're trying to avoid zone 5. Now, I've drawn this quite big. As you go up levels, that becomes smaller and smaller, right? Because people can take more and more advantage of it. But zone 5 is a control zone. If the ball lands in there, that person receiving the balls, this person here, can now go on offense. And then zone 1, all the way across the baseline, the net, is for drop shots, okay? But we're going to talk primarily about zones 3 and 4 today. I may reference zone 2, but just keep in mind that isn't a valid option, all right? So we're going to cover red zone. Remember zones 3, 4, 3 there. All right, so the next thing here, I'm going to just erase some of these zones. When you go down the line, so let's say you got a forehand here and you stand inside the court. Okay, I'm going to draw a stick man. There's a imaginary line. It runs 3 feet parallel to both sidelines. Let me do this again. If you could draw a straight line, let me draw this for you again. Sorry. Just going to draw a straight line. There we go. That should be 3 feet in, all right? My apologies. And you have it on both sides. So when you go down the line, you aim, you set your racket on this line and you aim along this line. It's your margin for safety line. You don't want to flirt with the sidelines, right? Very, very important. Plus you have a predetermined target in mind. So that's the percentage line. Okay, it runs both sides. Just going through a couple of things on terminology. If you're all in all access pass, you should also have access to swing blank, total control tennis, right? It's all in there as well. So that's a little bit about the targets there. Now let's talk about your recovery. Talk about court geometry real quick. So if we understand these things, it sets the sort of the baseline understanding of everything else. So let's say we have your opponent over here, and we have you right there. Okay, and you hit the ball. So let's say you're right-handed, you hit your forehand cross court over here, all right? Now, based on that, where your opponent is now hitting from, okay, your opponent has now moved to this position. Where do you recover to? Do you recover to, let's say, A, the center, B, right of center, we'll throw in a C there. You cover here, all right? So where do you recover to? So put in the chat box, you hit a ball cross court in this direction on the deuce court. Where should you recover to? Right of center. B, good. B, bisect. Yes, George, a mathematician there. All right, awesome. And Jeff, excellent. Lisa, great. Okay, you know, when I used to ask this question, this just shows you with the internet, people are getting more and more informed. Everybody would say A, all right? You go to B, those of you just joining us, you go to B because you're bisecting the angle your opponent has to hit. If they go down the line, you have to cover a ball here. If they hit the side T, I can't draw it for you. See, B, if I get down here, B bisects the angle between my 2 fingers there, right? If you go to A, you are favoring this side, all right? Okay, so what happens now if you go down the line? Your opponent hits the ball to you, boom, and you go down the line, okay? Where is your recovery? All right, place it in the chat box. C, yeah, technically C. C, some people could argue A, but generally when it comes down to all things being equal, C. All right, JJ, all right, okay. because now your opponent can hit the ball off the court here. So they can make you hit from there and there. So C, you're bisecting the angle. So in other words, see, I'm kind of leading you guys here. When you go down the line, you are running more versus when you go cross court, when you're behind the baseline, you are running less. Okay, so very, very important to remember, right? Now, a couple things too. When your opponent hits the ball cross court deep and you go down the line, what variables you got to watch out for? So to throw some variables out there. Well, how does this change when you go down the line? Give me something. I'll give you one. Court is shorter. Okay, this is 78 feet long. This is that side. The length of the court. This is 82.5 feet. Court is shorter. Okay, net is higher. Yes. Okay, physics changes the direction. Yes, Maxine. So we've got to overcome the angle of deflection. All right. Those who remember in physics, ball comes in, or light comes in this way, it refracts that way, right? The ball's not going to go straight ahead. You have to redirect the ball, overcome the angle deflection. Flirting with the sideline. Yes, George, more difficult shot. Okay. You run more, it's more difficult shot. You give them the open court. We can go through all the different reasons there, but I think we've got the idea. When you change direction, go down the line, you hit the more difficult shot and you're giving your opponent an easier shot. All right. So that's kind of lead us into what we're going to do next. So let me take this away. So that's just a little bit of a base understanding. All right. Now, next thing here, we're going to talk about a thing called directionals. I find for 3-5 players, this works really well because sometimes your opponent doesn't really have a strategy. Your strategy can always be hit to the backhand, all right? Or you can just simply play directionals. So here's your opponent. Here are you. Okay. Now it's a little bit wide. Let me move it over here. Okay. If this person over here, now I gave them the arms, whoops. If they hit the ball, let's say everyone's right-handed, they hit the ball cross court here to this player's forehand. Now, if I draw a line here dividing body there, this ball's hit this way. Would you agree that the ball came across the body of this player right here? Does that ball cross the body? Yes or no? Yes, Christine. Okay. Yes, Anne. Yes, good, excellent. All right, so everybody's following. So that's considered an outside ball. Wardlaw, I remember learning this when I graduated college, 2004 for the first time, all right? Wardlaw, that's an outside ball. It crossed your body, all right? Now, I hit the ball back. It doesn't cross it crosses my opponent's body, sorry. It's an outside ball for them. Now, what happens if maybe I accidentally hit my forehand, but it goes there? Did that ball cross my opponent's body? Excellent. So what kind of ball is that? Do you know the answer, or I think some of you may know this. Inside, yes, Christine, it's an inside ball, right? It's closer to the middle, okay? So if the ball crosses the body of the player receiving the ball, it's an outside ball. If it does not cross the body, it's considered an inside ball, all right? Generally speaking, all right, you can always refer to this recording. Outside balls, you don't change direction. We'll tell you when you do that, but go back to where it came from. An inside ball, you can now hit to the open court, all right? So outside goes to outside. Inside, I can now change direction. Or your opponent in this instance can change direction. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna give you some drills now for you to work on. All right, so yesterday I went out before it started, in between bouts of rain. So I'm gonna share my screen. I was hitting here with Tanner. So let's see if I can bring it up. Start broadcast. Oh, we have a visitor. Okay, Chiefy has joined us. Okay, Actually, let me know if you can see my screen. Just let me know in the chat box. Can you just see that screen? Okay, awesome, excellent. So I'm going to put up there we go. All right, so yesterday I filmed this with Tanner. Tanner is looking to play college tennis. He's actually going to a recruiting trip to Arizona State on Friday. So anyway, here we are. We are hitting, I gotta find the clear button. Okay, there we go. And here's the directional. So Tanner feeds the ball in, he's left-handed. Ball comes across my body, that's an outside ball. I'm not in a very good position, so I don't change direction. I go back to where it came from. Ball crosses Tanner's body. Zoom in there, whoops, not cooperating. Ball crosses Tanner's body, it's an outside ball. He takes the ball back to where it came from, but he's a little bit late. You see us falling away. So now the ball doesn't cross my body, I have an inside shot. I take an inside ball to the opening there. Now, if I follow the directionals, where is Tanner most likely to hit the shot? Not necessarily means he's going to hit it there. Where is he most likely to hit the shot? Well, he's most likely to hit that ball this way, right? Because that's actually an inside ball for him. He changes direction. Ball comes across my body. I have an outside shot. I go back to Tanner. He makes an inside ball. Inside ball, he changes direction, all right? And we keep following the pattern. So hope you'll follow me on that. So what you can do, this is a good drill I often will do. I'm doing this when I do single strategy, is I have the players start off rallying cross court, and it's called cooperative. And all these drills I want you to do in a cooperative manner in the beginning, and you'll almost want to play at like half, well not half, but 3/4 speed, because you want to keep the rally going, all right? So you can start rallying with your partner. Now they may do this with you, ideally, and all you're simply doing is you're just starting off cross court, and you can change the diagonal, but you're going to go cross court, anything that's outside, don't change direction. Just keep going back to where it came from. You're looking for an inside ball, either one of you, so that you can then, so you're going to go cross court, you look for the inside ball to then change direction. And then you continue the rally. And you keep going cross court. As long as you have outside balls, you keep going cross court, okay? And so you're going cross court, and inside ball, you change direction. Now, if you find that the rally is going too long cross court, one of you can just simply put in an inside ball. Okay, that way you're starting to rally with a kind of a purpose. But if it's kind of prolonged, which sometimes does happen, try to change the rally again. And you'll learn how to switch patterns this way as well. All right, so first drill I want you to focus on, if you can write this down, is start with directionals. Outside balls, don't change direction on. Inside balls, go to the open court. All right, so we'll just watch this drill one more time. Okay, and I'll move on. So playing. It doesn't play like this when I'm interesting on Zoom. Okay, so I have to pull my finger across. So outside, inside there, outside, inside. And you could go 2 or 3, 4 balls cross court, okay? Now, the next thing you can do is, actually going to turn the screen off for a second, okay? Okay, well, you can see me now. Good. All right. Now, when you do change direction, remember we want to be in the offense area of the court, so ideally the ball is going to land short somewhere in here. We want to be inside the court, and we want to be contacting the ball in a way where the ball will cross the net at 90 degrees. That's supposed to be 90 degrees, right? If you're standing over here and hitting the ball down the line, it's not crossing at 90 degrees. So can you see that, right? It's not crossing at 90 degrees. Chat, can you all see that? Okay. All right. Okay, you can see that. All right, let me just say it again. Sorry, I lost you for a second there. So you don't want to, when you don't want the ball when you go down the line to cross the net, other than when you can hit it at 90 degrees. So you're looking for a ball, there's a right angle right there, that's shorter, we can move inside the court, and you have time, so you can redirect the ball down the line, right? So even though it's an outside ball, if the ball's short, you can step inside the court with time, and you can hit the ball, have the ball cross that at 90 degrees, then you can change direction on the outside ball, okay? Because you have enough incoming racket head speed to redirect the ball, okay? Now there's a question, real quick, why do the directionals work? Well, if you film most of your ground strokes, and this is true, at some point the swing is going to swing across your body, right? Most people, we look at film all day long, most people pull across too early. So where's the swing naturally going? It's naturally going in a cross-court direction. So if I get a forehand that's deep and I want to go down the line, naturally I'm going this way. It's very difficult to redirect that. We see the same on the backhand, right? Going cross-court. Now I'll try to go down the line. I have to hit the ball late to go that way, down the line. So if I'm going cross-court on my backhand's naturally going cross-court. And then if I get a forehand, where's my forehand naturally going? Cross-court again. For those of you following us, you swing inside out, you aren't as badly affected. It's just a much easier shot. All right. Okay, so now getting back to the screen share. Okay, so I want to get into the drills here. Okay, so we did the first one, second drill. Okay, a little time to go over here. All right, second drill. So now we do the directionals. Where am I over here? Okay, so Tanner hits the ball cross court, hits me an outside ball. I hit him an outside ball. He comes back to me. But now look where his ball's landing. It's landing short. So I get a short. See, this is too difficult. Short outside ball. I think I'm going to go cross court here because look, I'm out of position. Can I hit the ball down the line from here? Crossing it at 90 degrees? No. So it's a difficult shot. I put myself out of position. Because if I had to go there, look how much court I've given Tanner. All right. We go cross court again. Okay, he goes. Okay, I got it out. Maybe I must made this wrong here. Okay, so here we go. I got inside ball. Trying to figure where am I. Okay, here we go. So are we back in the outside inside rally? Oh, it's a long rally. Sorry. Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about the confusion there. Thought I cut this. Okay, so Tanner hits me an outside ball here. I go back cross court. It's deep, right? Then he gives me a short ball, short outside ball. Now, ideally, I would be standing inside the court, right? The ball's short, I have time. Now I hit it down the percentage line to the open court. So that's drill 2. So you start with directionals. Then, and this is all cooperative. You can always add points to it later on, but this is cooperative. Then you say, okay, we're going to do directionals, but if you get a short outside ball, you can change direction and you keep the rally going that way. All right. So that was, I thought would be a better example. But you see here, I'll just go back. Okay, so here we go. Tanner hits me an inside ball. I change direction. Outside ball, go back to where it came from. Short ball. And now attack down the line. And the goal of that short ball, this is cooperative, not to hit a winner, but you generally want to hurt your opponent, right? Okay, so those are the 2 drills to begin with. Now, cross-court inside. Okay, so what you can do then is once you've warmed up with it, say, okay, let's play some points. And we're going to feed the ball in cross-court. The feed counts as 1. Okay, the person hits it back 2. The feeder hits the next ball, that's 3. Then you can change direction. Just get the ball going cross-court 3 times. So if Tanner feeds it in, 1, 2, 3. All right. So now the point's live. Now he's looking for an opportunity. Could have maybe gone down the line there, possibly. I get an inside ball. So now I attack to the open court. We start to play the point out. I get a short ball. So I went from an inside ball to now a short outside ball. Those of you who remember the calls from last time, load the outside leg, transfer through, extend. It's a higher short ball. I turn into an approach shot because I see him stretched. And there we go. All right. So you can play points for that. Okay, next one. Oh, this is Tanner beating me. Okay, here we go. So I feed it in. 1, 2, going cross court, other diagonal. 3. Tanner gets the short ball. He attacks down the line. I'm being lazy. I don't run for it. But we'll play the point out. Okay. All right. So those are the basic drills I want you to practice. Practice the directionals, then add the short ball on the outside ball. And then once you've done that in a cooperative manner, without trying to hit winners, without trying to score, then you can start the pattern cross court and then try to look to change direction. You can start to add score to that if you like. Another way you can play that as well is you can just say one person is going cross court the entire time, the other person is looking to open the court. You can do that as well. All right, now we'll take questions at the end here. So go back to the backboard here. Oh, sorry, technical difficulty. Stop share. Okay, so drill one. Drill one, all you're doing is outside balls, go back cross court, inside balls, go open court, right? Drill two, outside balls, go across court, go deep. Inside balls, go open court, or short outside balls, go down that percentage line, a 3-foot line, okay? Start cooperatively, and then you can start to play points, but set the situation, right? Some technical difficulty there. Okay, so those are the key drills there. The other thing you can do now, this is getting a little bit more advanced, because what happens if you don't want to play a certain pattern? So let's just say, let me pull up Tanner here. Screen share, okay. Let's bring up Tanner. Use an example there. So Tanner, I'm hitting my forehand on the far side to Tanner's backhand. He's left-handed. So maybe Tanner doesn't want to stay in this diagonal, but he's following the directionals. Deep balls go cross court. Okay. It's a deep outside balls go cross court. But he doesn't want to maintain that pattern. So he gets the ball, it's deep, but it sits up a little bit. He can go high and deep with his backhand down the line. Now, why he can go high and deep is that's going to give him time to now recover. If he goes hard and flat, he's going to be out of position. Give himself high and deep so he can recover. And my next shot most likely is going to be to the open court, inside ball. So now he's controlling his forehand to my backhand. Now he makes a tactical error, hits the ball short, and I don't want to stay in the diagonal, so I choose to slice down the line. Gives me time to recover, but now the pattern is back, my forehand to his backhand. So you can always change the direction. Let me just turn the screen off here. So you can always change the direction of the diagonal. If you have a little more time, you can always decide on the outside ball to go high and heavy or hit a slice, because it's a little bit easier to hit the ball and you're not trying to go for too much. Plus it's buying you time to get back to recover for the next shot. So that's how you can switch the diagonal. All right. So those are real basics there. Right. So I just want you to focus on that for this week. Now, I saw there was a question, what happens if the ball goes up the middle? I do have that to cover. So remember I had zone 5 over here. I'm just going to draw circles for now. All right. If the ball lands somewhere in zone 5, actually, before we even say that, let me back up a little bit. There are these points, imaginary points on all 4 corners. They're 3 to 4 feet in from the sideline and the baseline. We call them the percentage posts. Okay, if you watch pro tennis, very often they play between those percentage posts. A lot of rallies will go up the center, right? Go up the center this way. So when the rallies go up the center, there's no angle to play with. So you're looking for a ball that lands inside the control zone. When that happens, a lot of people make the mistake that you go right back. The opponent hits a weak ball, a minus, and you hit a minus back. No, when that happens, you step inside the baseline, and now you try to hit them off the court to zone 3 initially. Either way. And you want to get your opponent back here hitting the next shot. Because if you hit the ball off here, you get them off the court. Okay, now what you've done, you see how you opened up the entire court right there. Very often they're going to give you a shorter ball where you can step in and you can now attack to the open court. So let me raise these lines so you can just see a bit better. All right. Ball's up the middle. So it's going middle, middle, middle. They hit the ball short. Let's just say you decide to go to the backhand, you pull them off the court. They give you a weaker ball. You step in, and now look, you have the whole opening here. All right. And I always say this, first short ball you get, that's your setup, right? That's your setup. You look to hurt them and you be prepared to hit 2 more shots after that. So I always say, think 3. Short ball's 1, and you may have to hit 2 more. 1, 2, 3 after that ball lands short to win the point. Because most people go for a winner, they overhit, end up missing, and they end up losing the point. Okay. If you look to hurt your opponent, so hit a winner, see now your opponent's running here again. So they ran there once, 2, and then maybe you have run a 3rd time. You have them running across the baseline and you're tiring them out. All right. Okay, so I'm going to look at some questions here. Make sure that, please, if something's not clear to you, please let me know so I can answer it. So we go to the chat here to see what we got. Yeah, so Greg, let me go back here. Why does this work? Okay, I think we answered that. Brent, okay, I'm going to answer some of the chat questions first. So when do you follow Billie Jean King and go deep down the middle? Okay, Brent, that's when you are defending. You're behind the baseline. So maybe you can defend deep to the middle, or you just in a rally up the middle, you can go deep until you get the ball lands in the control zone, which you can then attack to either zone 3 to pull them off the court. So you create that opening, all right? You usually get the weaker ball. So Greg, yeah, I put those yellow cones out there just for us to see visually here on the screen, but also for Tan and I to give ourselves a nice safe target, which is about 4 feet in from either baseline and sideline. It's just a big target. So if your partner wants to do that with you, that's great, because you want to have a target in mind. All right. Sandra, all his balls are just landing after the service line. Would that be the next zone for attack? Yeah. So Sandra, if the ball lands short, you ideally want to be stepping inside the court to attack down the line, for instance. But sometimes you're just a little bit out of position. All right, maybe you didn't see it, you're a little too far back, or you're a little bit stretched. So if you're not balanced and you're not stepping inside, then generally you will just then go back cross court. It's the easier shot. If you don't hit down the line well enough, you leave the court open. All right, so you want to make sure when you go down the line, you're really hurting your opponent. All right. Marta, outside and short, then change direction. Yes, Marta, as long as you get there on time, you're balanced, and you can hit the ball, have the ball cross net at 90 degrees. Christine, yeah. Christine, zone 4, if that's happening, just play up the middle till you get a ball lands in zone 5, as we covered, and then you pick a corner, zone 3, to hit into and stretch them. All right, Ute, what to do with these awful high balls? Okay, so we covered that in the last 6 calls actually. If the ball's pushed deep, high, it's an outside ball, it's a difficult ball, you go back cross court through the center as you aim somewhere around here. If the ball is short and high and you can move in, like I did, take the ball early, you're able to then go to the open court, all right? Yes, Ekaterina, I like that, take them out of the air. If you see your opponent is stretched, then you can run forward and then look to take the ball out of there, don't let it volley. Okay, JJ, when you hurt them on a short ball, could you move to the net? 100% yes. I may even have a video there. Let me just see. I'm not sure if I included it. I think I may have included this, yeah. But the key here is I want you to get from this call is to go out there and practice with a purpose, right? Practice. I think I get stretched here. I don't know. Let me just see. It's a good example. No. I may have not included it. Sorry, I was going through this morning. Nope, sorry. I thought I had one where I was really stretched. I could really show you. Unfortunately, cannot do that. All right. So why is that not? There we go. All right. So let me see the Q&A. Okay. So I've answered most of the questions here. Certainly, if you have more, please let me know. And on the inside ball, is it you can hit down the line or should you hit? So good question here from Anne. So I love the questions. So sure. On the inside ball. So Anne's asking if she gets an inside ball. Okay. Do you have to, or is it a choice? Everything is a choice, all right? So what I say that we talk about a fundamental. Fundamentally, if you get an inside ball, you go open court, all right? Now, there could be a variable. The variable could be, you think about this for a second. The variable could be, I'm playing Tanner. He's left-handed. He gives me an inside ball to my backhand, but I don't want to hit it to his forehand. So I may decide, and the variable being Tanner's left-handed, I'm actually going to hit it back to his backhand. So now I'm staying in the pattern I want to stay in, all right? I'm going my forehand to his backhand, so I may decide not to do that. The other thing is, maybe I recognize, or Tanner, doesn't have to be Tanner, your opponent anticipates, hey, every time they hit the ball here, you're going open, so they start to move this way. If you see them sort of hovering around the center line, you may just choose to go back behind them. All right, so as I say, there's always a variable variation. So fundamentally, yes, but if you find there's a variable, either the pattern you're trying to stay in, or if you're becoming predictable, then of course you can change it. All right. One thing we didn't talk about this. We got an outside ball. Okay. And we said if the ball is a short outside ball, we change direction. Well, same thing. Maybe, for instance, it could be in your backhand. Let me redraw that, all right? So I've done everything on the forehand. See with me? Let's say here, your opponent hits the ball to your backhand. Okay, outside ball, you go back. They give you a short outside ball. But maybe your backhand is not good enough at this moment in time, right? We don't want to go down line because it's difficult shots. So you may choose to go back cross court, or you may choose to use the angle and go to zone 2. Remember zone 2? Open the court. Okay. But the fundamental is short outside ball, take it down the line. But there could be a variable. A variable could be, I can't hit my backhand down line at this moment in time. So I'm going to go back cross court. Or I'm becoming predictable. My opponent, every time they hit that short ball to me, they start to move this way. If you see them around about the middle line, okay, you know they're covering this. So I want to go back behind them. So I want to change it up. So you can just see, we play the court being equal, and then we start to look at variables and variations. That's where it gets a little more tricky. But right now, what I want you to do is just stick to the basics, understand the basic patterns. Once you got that, then start to play around with the variations. I always find this, when you stick to the basics, very often that's where you have the greatest success, because you're playing high percentage tennis. When you start to go away from the basics, that's when you start to decrease the percentages a little bit, right? But those are definitely options that you do have. Okay, let's see if we got anything else in the chat group over here. Okay, do we get everything here? Chat. Okay, Jeff, pleasure. Brent, where do you recover after you go down line? Okay, so that's a good one. You know, I would, with everything's being equal, but I just tell you how when I play, I kind of sense it this way. So if you take the ball down the line, technically speaking, you should recover to here, all right? But I do find that generally we see players covering a little more kind of centered, because there can be, the player may hit behind them, and then they're in trouble if they're overcommitted this way. Because remember, your momentum is taking you this way. You're getting there very quickly. So you're probably gonna get more around the center. So that's what I would kind of suggest, but you're moving in this direction, all right? But towards the center. Okay. So let me know if there are any more questions. You know, next time around, I'm gonna focus on you know, the yellow zone and the net, and then we're going to get into the serve +1 and the return +1. So you know, let me know if there are any questions on what we covered today. And again, these are real basic patterns, but you'll see them throughout the game. 3-0-3-5, the directionals work really well. And as you start to up your game, you're looking for that short ball, outside ball to go down the line. All right. That's right, Jeff. Depends how good your flow step is. Right. Yeah. So any other questions, or all good? Hope you're all having a great week. Oh, there you go, Robert. Sorry, I just saw it now. Will this video be posted? I believe so. If you go to the All Access Pass, the OTI short modules, like near the bottom of your login page, my guess is going to be at the top of the page like it was last time. I will tell James when he sends the email out to everybody on the call where they can find it. All right. Okay, everybody. Guess that's going to wrap it up for today. But remember, when you go out there and practice with a purpose, have a target in mind, and use these simple patterns, and you can build upon them. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the week, and look forward to seeing you next time.